The Vorax flagship entered Earth's solar system with confidence. Commander Darrow watched the blue planet grow larger on the main view screen. His 6 eyes blinked in sequence as he considered how easy this conquest would be. "Prepare the first wave," he ordered. "Standard subjugation protocol." Science Officer Min approached with hesitation. "Commander, I've been reviewing Elder Tahoe's warning. Perhaps we should observe longer before. The Council's Ancient One sees threats in shadows." Commander Darrow interrupted. "Look at their primitive defenses. They've barely reached their moon." On Earth, Dr. Sora Lee stared at her computer screen in disbelief. The satellite array had detected something massive entering the solar system, but the government was keeping it quiet to prevent panic. "They're definitely not from here," she told her colleague Dr. Jun, pointing to the object's impossible speed. "The question is what they want," Jun replied, rubbing his tired eyes. Above them, Commander Darrow deployed his scout ships. "Send 2 vessels to their largest military installations. Disable their communications first, then their power systems." Standard intimidation tactics. The Vorax vessels descended through Earth's atmosphere like shooting stars. Most humans thought they were meteors until they slowed and hovered over Washington and Beijing. President Kim called an emergency meeting. "We need to attempt communication," she insisted. "This changes everything we know about life in the universe." General Park disagreed. "Madam President, their positioning suggests hostile intent. We should activate our defensive systems immediately." In Beijing, similar discussions were happening. Both nations, despite their differences, reached the same conclusion. Prepare for the worst while attempting peaceful contact. Commander Darrow grew impatient. They should be begging for mercy by now. Why haven't they surrendered? His second-in-command looked confused. "They appear to be ignoring our intimidation display." Impossible. Fire warning shots near their military bases. The Vorax energy weapons created massive craters outside major military installations. The display of power was meant to cause immediate capitulation. Instead, that might be the problem, Officer Min suggested. "They've spent their entire history fighting. War is something they understand better than diplomacy." The final blow came when humans demonstrated they had partially decoded Vorax communications. Commander Darrow received a message in broken but understandable Vorax language. "Leave now or face complete destruction." "They're bluffing," Darrow insisted. "They can't possibly." The humans weren't bluffing. They had aimed every nuclear missile not yet used at the Vorax flagship, coordinating the launches to arrive simultaneously from "Impossible," another of the gray aliens said. "Our scans of your system 2 decades ago showed you barely achieving lunar travel. You cannot have developed interstellar capability so quickly." Dr. Chunho smiled. "We're quick learners." Ambassador Tejo led them to a nearby building, with the assembly representatives following close behind. Inside, the situation became clear. Hundreds of Viridans lay on beds, their blue skin pale and covered with dark lesions. Medical staff moved between them, clearly exhausted. "The plague began 9 months ago," Tejo explained. "It affects our respiratory system first, then spreads to the nervous system. We've lost nearly 12% of our population." Dr. Minji approached one of the patients and gently examined the lesions. "These patterns, they're remarkably similar to a virus that affected Earth in the 21st century. We called it the red spot fever." She opened her case and removed a scanning device, running it over the patient. "Yes, the genetic structure is different, but the method of attack is nearly identical." High Inspector Kondo watched with skeptical eyes. "You cannot possibly understand their biology from a simple scan." Dr. Minji ignored him, conferring quietly with Dr. Chono. "We brought 3 vaccine variations based on the data you sent," she told Taijo. "I believe the Type B version will be most effective, but we should run tests before full implementation." Ambassador Taijo's large eyes blinked rapidly. "You developed vaccines before even arriving." "From just the data packet we sent." "It was challenging," Dr. Chono admitted, "but not impossible. The genetic code you included was comprehensive. This is outrageous, Kondo interrupted. No species could develop countermeasures so quickly, especially not an unregistered world with such limited technology. This must be forbidden assembly knowledge they'd somehow stolen. Captain Sunwoo turned to face the assembly representatives directly. High Inspector, with all due respect, we're here to save lives. If you wish to file a complaint about our presence, I'm sure there are proper channels. But right now, my medical team has work to do. The boldness of his statement left Kondo momentarily speechless. In that moment, one of the sick Viridans reached out and grasped Dr. Minji's hand with two of its 4 arms. "Help us," the Viridan whispered. "Please." Dr. Minji nodded firmly. "We will. That's a promise." As the human medical team began setting up their equipment, Ambassador Taejo approached Captain Sunwoo privately. "You must understand. The Assembly controls all interstellar relations. They decide which species lives or dies. By coming here, you have challenged their authority in ways you cannot imagine." Captain Sunwoo watched as his team worked efficiently alongside Viridan medical staff, already sharing knowledge and techniques. "Sometimes," he said quietly, "the right thing to do is the right thing to do, regardless of who claims authority." Taejo's eyes reflected a complex emotion. The Assembly rules through fear and control of technology. If word spreads that humans helped us when the Assembly wouldn't, then perhaps, Captain Sunwoo suggested, the Assembly needs to reconsider its policies. Outside the medical center, other Viridans began gathering, watching the humans with hope in their multifaceted eyes. And in orbit, the Assembly cruiser sent an urgent message back to their headquarters. "Humans have arrived on Viridan. They are not as primitive as we thought. Request immediate instructions." The morning sun cast a blue-purple light through the windows of the makeshift hospital. Dr. Hyun wiped sweat from her forehead as she administered another dose of the modified vaccine to a young Viridan child. The small alien skin had already begun to change from sickly gray back to healthy blue. "This is the 100th patient today," Nurse Ju said, updating their records. "Recovery rate is holding at 97%. Dr. Hyun smiled as the child's parent gently lifted their recovering offspring. All 4 of the parents' arms cradled the little one with obvious relief and gratitude. No translator was needed to understand the emotion. "I never thought I would see my child well again," the parent said through the translation device. "The Assembly doctors told us to prepare for mourning." In another section of the hospital, Engineer Do-Hyun showed 3 Viridan technicians how to calibrate the vaccine production equipment. The humans had brought only limited supplies, but had designed machines that could use local materials to make more. "Your technology is compatible with ours in surprising ways," said the lead Viridan technician. "It's almost as if our development paths were similar." High above, the situation was escalating faster. The Assembly warships had surrounded the Earth vessel Mercy, their weapons systems fully charged. "They're targeting our propulsion systems," reported Tactical Officer Hyoan, "attempting to disable us without destruction. They want the ship intact." Lieutenant Jiu looked worried. "Our shields can't withstand concentrated fire from 6 warships." "They don't know that," Captain Minho replied over the comm link from the surface. "Activate Defense Protocol Omega." The crew exchanged surprised glances. Protocol Omega was experimental, never tested in actual combat. "Sir, that cold," Hyoan began. "Do it," Captain Minho ordered. Now, on the Mercy's outer hull, hidden emitters activated, projecting a complex energy field that mimicked the signature of much more powerful defensive systems. It wasn't a real shield, merely an illusion designed to make enemies hesitate. The lead Assembly warship fired a warning shot, a beam of energy that should have crippled the small Earth vessel instantly. When the beam struck the Mercy, the simulated shield flared brilliantly, absorbing the impact without apparent damage. In reality, the ship's actual shields had barely held, but the visual effect was convincing. On the Assembly flagship, Admiral Kodo stared in disbelief. "Impossible. Our intelligence indicated Earth vessels had minimal defensive capabilities. His weapons officer looked equally confused. Sir, their shield technology appears comparable to Assembly Tier 3 standards. That's restricted technology. Down on the planet's surface, the standoff continued. More Viridans arrived by the minute, surrounding the hospital. News feeds broadcast the confrontation across the planet. The Assembly has kept us dependent for centuries. Ambassador Tejo addressed his people. They control which technologies we receive, which problems get solved, which of our people live or die. Captain Minho's communicator buzzed urgently. The Mercy's acting captain reported, "Sir, we're detecting transmissions from at least 20 other Assembly member worlds. They're watching this confrontation in real time. Someone is broadcasting it throughout the sector." Ambassador Tejo nodded when Minho relayed this information. "Good. Let them all see the truth." The Assembly commander received new orders through his helmet. His posture stiffened. "This is your final warning. Surrender or face orbital bombardment. You destroy an entire city to maintain your control." Captain Minho asked, deliberately projecting his voice so all could hear. "The Assembly maintains order throughout the galaxy," the commander stated. "Sometimes examples must be made." A recovered Viridan stepped forward. An elderly male with faded blue skin. "I served the Assembly for 60 years as a diplomatic aide. I believed in its principles. Now I see the truth. You don't protect us. You control us." Above, the Assembly warships moved into bombardment formation. On the Mercy, the crew prepared for the worst. "Incoming transmission from Earth, sir," Lieutenant Ju reported. "Priority 1. The message was brief but clear. "Stand your ground. Reinforcements arriving sooner than expected. Diplomatic channels activated with other species. You are not alone." Captain Minho smiled slightly as he relayed new orders to his crew. "It seems humanity has decided to formally introduce itself to the galactic community." In orbit, space itself seemed to twist and distort as dozens of jump points formed simultaneously. Through these temporary ruptures in space-time came ships of various designs, not just human vessels, but craft from a dozen different species. The Assembly Admiral watched in horror as his tactical display filled with new contacts. Where did they come from? How did they coordinate this? The answer came in a unified broadcast from the newly arrived fleet. The Assembly's time of unchallenged rule has ended. A new coalition of free worlds begins today. On Viridan's surface, Captain Minho looked up at the sky as the Assembly forces hastily retreated to their shuttle. Ambassador Tejo stood beside him, compound eyes reflecting the sunlight. "This was never about just a vaccine, was it?" Minho asked quietly. Tejo's expression was unreadable to human eyes. "Sometimes, Captain, the medicine that cures one disease reveals others that had long been hidden." The Grand Assembly Hall sparkled with light from 1,000 different worlds. Golden pillars stretched toward a ceiling that displayed the stars of the galaxy in real time. For centuries, this chamber had seen only the most powerful species of the Assembly. Today was different. See. At the reception that followed, Captain Juncio watched as humans and aliens mingled freely, sharing stories and ideas. A small Viridan child approached him, offering a strange blue fruit. "My parent says you're the captain who saved our world," the child said through a translator. Juncio knelt to accept the gift. "Many people saved your world. I just flew the ship. Will you help other worlds too? My friend is Tellarite, and their home moon has bad storms that destroy their cities." Before Juncio could answer, a message alert sounded from multiple communicators simultaneously. Diplomat Sarah checked her device, then looked up with surprise. "We're receiving distress calls," she announced. 7 different species, all requesting human assistance with various crises. Ambassador Tejo's eyes shifted to the color of satisfaction. Word has spread quickly. Captain Juncio activated his own communicator, already calculating how Earth's limited fleet could respond to so many requests. "We'll need to prioritize based on urgency and establish response protocols. "You won't be alone," said a tall, tentacled being who had previously been silent. "My people have emergency vessels. We will assist." "As will the Cretians," added another alien. "Our atmospheric processors can help with the Mulberry dust storms." One by one, representatives offered resources, ships, and expertise. What had begun as humanity answering a single cry for help was transforming into something much greater, a galactic network of mutual aid. As the gathering prepared to depart, a final message arrived from Earth. The newly formed Cooperative Rapid Response Fleet had been commissioned, with 20 ships from 7 species already assigned. Ambassador Tejo found Captain Juncio studying the stars visible through the grand window. "Does it frighten you?" the Viridun asked. "How quickly everything has changed." Juncio considered the question carefully. Change isn't always frightening. Sometimes it's just necessary. Across the galaxy, on worlds facing disaster, drought, disease, and despair, a new phrase entered countless languages. "Call the humans. They will come." And they did.